2 very dry Tanqueray martinis with a twist, says Max to the waitress.
I'll have the same,
says Marilyn Middleton. The waitress looks to see if she is kidding. She is not kidding. Marilyn waves the waitress away.
So,
says Marilyn, puffing thoughtfully on her brown cigarillo.
You want me to give you 3 or 4 weirdos who I've taught to dance, do you?
That is what you promised to deliver, says Max.
And, sweetheart, I always deliver what I promise,
she replies.
Okay, let's see. First of all, there was a little beauty by the name of Henry.
Henry what?
I'll think of it. Just give me time. Henry was a certified public accountant, short, mild-mannered little guy, bald. He had baby soft hands, always dressed very prissily, like any minute he expected there to be an inspection or something. I swear to you, he looked like he had hospital corners on his underwear. Henry, what the hell was his last name? Never mind, it'll come to me. Anyway, Henry was the soul of politeness. It was always Miss Middleton this, Miss Middleton that, and all the while we were dancing, he was copping feels and pretending they were accidental. Well, one night, as we conclude his lesson, he asks me if we can have a drink. He being my last lesson of the day, and me being somewhat lonelier than usual that night, I say, what the hell, let's do it. Well, first of all, it turns out that where old Henry is inviting me to have a drink is, you guessed it, nowhere but Chez Henry. Now, I've been around a little in my time, even tangled with a few CPAs, so I didn't see this as anything I couldn't handle. No sooner do we get settled with drinks than old Henry drops his hand on my knee and lets it sort of die there. Well, since he didn't make any mention of it, neither did I. And when he hadn't moved it for about 10 minutes, I stopped thinking about it. Which is exactly when the hand, with a mind of its own, begins creeping steadily upward. Henry, of course, never even acknowledges that he has a hand, much less that it's doing anything at all unusual. You know, Max, I like a good feel as much as the next scale. But I sure would have preferred it if he'd been above board about the whole thing. If he'd said something like, Miss Middleton, I'd certainly like to run my hand up your leg and fool around inside your undies. Anyway, some nights I'm less discriminating about playmates than others, and I figured a hand on the bird is worth 2 in my bush. So I let him have his way with me. Well, let me tell you, was that ever a mistake? No sooner do we really get down to it than shy, polite little Henry becomes a tiny tyrant. Miss Middleton, lie this way, and Miss Middleton, lie that way, and Miss Middleton, don't make so much noise. Aside from which, old Henry's pecker never attained a more rigid consistency than al dente linguine. And to top it all off, when he sees me for his next lesson at the studio, he acts like I'm some nasty old tart who seduced him.
So that little beauty is Henry, says Max, jotting down some notes. Henry X.
Henry Fortenbaugh, she replies. Yes, that's it, Fortenbaugh. Henry Fortenbaugh, CPA, certified prissy asshole. Then the next little number I remember was a character named Vulcaning. He signs up for the basic course, and right away it strikes the instructor who's assigned to him that he's a little off the wall. I agree to take Vulcaning off her hands because I figured I could handle anybody. The guy develops an immediate crush on me. Then he asks me for a drink. The experience with Henry is still fresh in my mind, so I say thanks, but no thanks, sweetheart. The minute I refuse him, he starts getting very weird, talking very ominously about how all the women who have rejected him have met with bad ends. Wonderful stuff like that. He alternates between acting very snide and superior and being very obsequious. Very, kissy-assy. Then he starts following me home from the studio. Wonderful, huh? Just what I need. I talked to my boss about it, and I got him to back me up on terminating Vulcaning's contract and refunding his fees for the unused lessons, when old Vulcaning just ups and disappears. Just totally never shows up again. After a while, I forgot about him. I've never even thought about him till you asked me to find you some weirdos.
What was Vulcaning's first name?